Hello, this is Riley with the AGOGE Academy. In this video we're going to discuss two methods of room clearing. Obviously, room clearing is an extremely important skill that is employed when operating in a close quarter combat environment, which you may encounter in an active shooter situation, hostage situation, or on a barricaded suspect call. The first method we are going to show you is a method that is commonly taught to basic U.S. military units and law enforcement agencies. This method is commonly referred to as the dynamic entry. The objective of this method is to make entry with speed and establish a dominating force inside the room. The key to a good entry is surprise, but you might not always have surprise. In this first clip, we have a single instructor demonstrating the dynamic entry. You will observe that the bad guy is standing inside the room and not particularly paying attention to the doorway in the right side corner. When our instructor runs up to the door and makes entry, he enters into the room and goes to his left. The bad guy is alerted as soon as he hears the door open and turns to the sound. He sees our instructor enter and immediately go to the left, and he starts shooting at our instructor almost immediately in the back. I'm sure many of you watching this video will say that that wouldn't have happened because the second man in the room would be going to the right and he would engage the bad guy. However, when the first man makes entry, the bad guy was already orienting himself towards the door and sound, and immediately oriented his weapon to the door and to the number one man entering and immediately started firing. Even if a second man enters immediately, he will enter into a volley of rounds and either the number one man goes down, number two goes down, or both go down. This method relies on surprise and violence of action, or domination if you'd like. The second method we are going to demonstrate is the method that we teach at the AGOGE Academy. In this clip, we have a single instructor demonstrating our method. Our method puts a high priority on the safety of the officers making entry. In this second clip, you'll observe the bad guy standing in the room in the same position as the first clip. Again, he is not particularly paying attention to the doorway. When our instructor runs up to the door and makes entry, he uses the door frame as cover and uses his eyes and weapon to clear what he can see of the room from the doorway and keeps his body from being exposed to the interior of the room. He has already cleared more than 60% of the room as soon as he opens the door. He continues to clear the room to the right and continues to use the door frame as cover. When he observes the bad guy, he immediately neutralizes him. The bad guy heard the door open and started to orient towards the door, but before he could present his weapon, our instructor was already firing at him. As you can see in the first clip that we played, the bad guy was able to orient and fire on our instructor before our instructor could turn and return fire. The dynamic entry method commonly taught gives you a 50-50 chance to choose the correct direction when entering a room. If you make entry and go the correct direction that the attacker is in, you might be able to fire before they do. However, if you choose the wrong direction, the attacker's decision making will be much quicker than your reaction time. The method that we teach at the AGOGE Academy gives a much higher percentage of choosing the correct direction every time and improves the survivability of the entry officers. Thank you for taking the time to review this video and leave your comments below.